Donald Trump just released some news about the United States Census that is riveting. It may be the best news I've heard in a lifetime. Donald Trump has taken out the scalpel to restore the heartbeat of America. You need to share this with your friends because this truly is substantial news. It's no longer politics as usual. We also have some breaking news from a court in the state of Texas that ties right in with the news about the census. It is riveting, and I'm here to break it all down. As news breaks out, we break in. We bring you tomorrow's news today. We go beyond the headlines. The census. Now, a few of you are asking me about Gaza. That seems to be taking up the mainstream media today. I've written a blog about Gaza that is second to none. Also, you can watch my monologue from my show last night about Gaza on my YouTube channel. Just go look for Real Professor Toto on YouTube. But let's talk about this news. This is not a campaign season, and yet Donald Trump, you would think, was running for president as much as he is getting accomplished in these short 6 months. What Donald Trump has done today with the news of the census is literally open heart surgery on the United States of America. Literally. He is the surgeon. Donald Trump, a scalpel in one hand and our Constitution in another hand. For too long, America has been treating symptoms. I've often said we do not have an immigration problem in this nation. And I'm going to go a step further and say we do not even have a stolen election problem in this nation. Those are symptoms. They are simply side effects of the sickness in America. It's not that we have an immigration problem. The problem we have is we're not able to explain what a citizen is. And because of that, all of these other symptoms are running amok. Donald Trump is tired of dealing with symptoms. And today, the great Surgeon General himself proved it by messing with the holy grail of the U.S. swamp, the United States Constitution. We've been trying to patch a rotting system for too long. It's rotting from the core. But now, America is on the operating table, literally. Today, the greatest news of my lifetime concerning the U.S. is breaking, and very few people have paid it any attention. It all has to do with the United States Census. Donald Trump is no longer coddling the Constitution. He is no longer coddling the patient called the United States of America. He is literally cracking open the ribcage today. Today, he is shining that great surgical light into the very corrupted, infected heart of our nation. And he is performing what no other politician has ever dared to do, an open heart transplant of these United States, a constitutional bypass, a national transplant, a root level restoration with this census bombshell that just landed. He is rewriting the rules of representation. I quote from Donald Trump today: the United States should no longer count illegal aliens in determining congressional representation. That's a quote. And it seems so common sense, and yet it is riveting. This statement from Donald Trump today has sent shockwaves literally throughout the Beltway. Why? Because it exposes the heart of the matter. It exposes the most manipulated mechanisms in American politics. Donald Trump is done being the nurse. He is the doctor today. Let me break it down. I'm fixing to give you a lesson in the United States Census, one that no one can argue with you. A liberal, no one can break down what I'm about to give you. It's called the truth. Nothing but the truth. The United States Census is the Trojan horse of political power. For over 100 years, the United States Census has counted every human, every person, regardless of citizenship status. What has this done? It has artificially inflated the population of sanctuary states like California and New York. It has redistributed federal funds and, more importantly, House representative seats to states that are ignoring immigration law. It has created a perverse incentive to harbor more illegal immigrants and to gain more power. What I just told you is the problem in our nation. Illegal immigration is not the problem. The United States Census is the problem. Because if you're getting your money from the census, then all you need to do is control the census and you get the money. But now Donald Trump has said today, enough. He said only citizens should count for congressional representatives. I want you to think about that now. It sounds so simple, and yet it is causing heartburn all through America today. It's very simple. Only citizens should have representatives. That's it. That would be like saying, in my house where I now live with my wife, she is my legal wife. She's not the only woman in the world. And let's say I had 10 females living in this house. Only one of those 10 will be recognized by law as my wife. If I were to die, my life insurance does not go to the other 9 females. Their presence is here, but they are not legally recognized. Therefore, there is only one woman that can be recognized as my wife by law. And that is what we're talking about. Legal representation in the House of Representatives can only go to legal citizens. What just poured out of my mouth sounds like common sense, does it not? Of course it does, because Professor Toto is the High Chancellor of common sense. But in the mind of a liberal, that's racism. Now, after Donald Trump made that announcement, we have more breaking news from the great state of Texas. A second shockwave after Trump's announcement. And it comes from the judiciary, not the executive branch. The United States Appeals Court ruled that Texas can legally 2020 election fiasco, mail-in ballots without identification. I told you so when the temper of the times wear down, we will get to the root of the problem. And here we are in 2020, unverified mail-in ballots. And you need to go read my blog called Why Joe Biden Was an Illegitimate President, where I lay it all out for you. Educate yourself. Don't walk around speaking out of emotions. Speak out of knowledge and understanding, and then apply wisdom to it, and you become a wrecking ball. The court says no ID, no vote, at least in Texas. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to break it down further for you. We're going to talk about the census of the United States of America. And here is what you need to be ready for tonight. When you're listening to the mainstream media and they're talking about this subject, I want you to be the only person in your house that has one inkling of what they're talking about. Because here's what you're going to hear from the liberals. I'll educate you now. Allow me, Professor Toto, a moment to put on my powdered wig and teach a little constitutional truth that no one else will tell you. Let's cut through the legal smog, the media gaslighting, and some smug scholar on cable news who will say the following. Prepare yourself. They will refer to the 14th Amendment. Here's what the 14th Amendment says. It requires that the whole number of persons in each state be counted. They're going to throw that quote out tonight. They're going to tell you that excluding undocumented immigrants would conflict with the Constitution, the 14th Amendment specifically. Again, why? Quote, because the whole number of persons must be counted in each state. So they're going to use that. You need to be prepared. Number one, they are wrong. Number two, what they've just said is incomplete. And number three, it's totally devoid of context. Allow Professor Toto, your humble, scholarly surgeon of the sacred text, show you where they're failing to tell you the truth on the mainstream media. They assume you, the deplorable, are too ignorant to read the Constitution for yourself. So they throw out a quote from the 14th Amendment. All right? And they want you to believe that the founders already excluded a census. That here's the problem. Let me read to you the entirety of the 14th Amendment. Shall I? Thank you. Representatives shall be apportioned among the several states according to their respective numbers, counting the whole number of persons in each state. They got that quote right. Bravo. But they don't read the very next line to you. And I need you to start screaming at the television when they don't read the rest. Here's the rest. Excluding Indians that are not taxed. Excluding Indians that are not taxed. Now you might say, well, Professor Toto, that has nothing to do with immigrants. It's talking about Indians that are not required to pay taxes to the United States government. Ladies and gentlemen, that single phrase, excluding Indians that are not taxed, that's not a footnote. It's a sledgehammer to the woke narrative that anyone standing on U.S. soil should count the same as a legal citizen. That very line proves that the Constitution distinguishes plainly between mere presence and legal jurisdiction. All right? Let me show you what it proves. The drafters of the Constitution understood that not all people physically present on the soil should be counted. That's not arguable. If you're going to exclude the Indians from the count, there's a reason for that. They are not taxed. Why are they not taxed? Because they're not legal citizens under the jurisdiction of the United States of America, proving that our founders considered a legal citizen one that could be taxed legally and were giving their taxation as required as a citizen of the United States of America. They were outside of the U.S. jurisdiction because they are not recognized. Oh, yes, they're physically here. They're walking among us, but they're not of us. We are the natural-born citizens or the naturalized citizens of the United States of America. Only that group of people are considered legally recognized. The tribal Indians were excluded because, number one, they were not U.S. citizens. Yes, we're going to get a count of every person in the state, except, remove the word Indian, find the intent, except for those that don't get counted. And who doesn't get counted? Illegal immigrants. Why? Because the Indian people were governed by tribal treaties, not by U.S. law. Therefore, they were not subject to the jurisdiction of these United States. What I just gave you is not an opinion, it's constitution. And legal scholars confirm what I just taught you. That tribal Indians were purposely excluded from citizenship. They were not governed by state legislation. And yes, they were physically present, yet not legally present. 10 women in one house can all be present. But when it comes time to read the will and everything goes to the legal wife, we don't count the other 9 women. So let me make it plain, very plain. If the Constitution could exclude an entire group of people physically living among us due to legal jurisdiction, it's entirely constitutional to exclude illegal aliens who are not citizens, they are not taxed, they are not under U.S. jurisdiction, they're not eligible for voting or representation. And they're certainly not entitled to tilt congressional power in sanctuary cities. And Donald Trump is the only president with the temerity and proclivity to finally break that rib cage open, pull out the defected heartbeat of the United States and do surgery on something besides the symptoms. You're never going to fix immigration with a wall. It's a great deterrent. It's not a fix. Pull the heart out, and the heart is the United States Census. Let me prepare you for the next argument from the lovely liberals. You're going to hear it tonight. Look for it. And then come back and say, thank you, High Chancellor, for preparing us for the arguments. The next one you're going to hear. It's going to be there tonight. What about Wong Kim Ark? All right? You're going to hear that word. Oh no, Professor Toto, you're wrong. The United States Supreme Court ruled in 1898 because of Wong Kim Ark that anyone born on U.S. soil is a citizen, no matter the parent's immigration status. All right, let's talk about Wong Kim and the misdirection of that argument. It's a favorite talking point of the uninformed, the illiterate, the ignorant, and the intentionally dishonest. But allow your favorite professor to tear up their little playhouse. I'm going to do it with facts, with truth, undeniable. Let's talk about who was Wong Kim Ark. Wong Kim Ark was born in San Francisco to Chinese parents who were legally residing and doing business in the United States at the time. They did not climb a wall. They did not sneak in. They went and got a legal work visa. They were here legally. They were not squatters. They were not fugitives. They were legal residents. Underline that word, legal. They had previously established a permanent domicile and residence in San Francisco. They were here legally. In 1898, when this was decided for Wong Kim Ark, 1898, there was no Immigration Act of 1924 at that time. The Immigration Act of 1924 significantly restricted entrance into the United States. The Supreme Court ruled on Kim Wong Ark in 1898, some 30, 40 years before we started strictly restricting entrance into the United States. That law had not even passed. There was no law in 1898 defining what an illegal alien was. That means that Wong Kim Ark's parents were not violating any laws. There were no immigration laws in 1898. All right? So let's go back to 1898 because you're going to need to know this. We're living in a nation that has no immigration laws. Come, bring your sick, bring your lame. And they were coming. The parents came. They went to work. They were not citizens, but they were legal residents, not breaking any immigration law because until 1924, no immigration law existed. But then in 1924, the Immigration Act was created. Had they come after 1924, they would have been illegal. But you cannot be illegal if there is no law in 1898. The modern progressives, they're trying their best to compare Wong Kim Ark's legal parents to today's illegal aliens that are lawbreakers. And that's where their whole argument explodes in their faces, and you need to make it explode. You need to tell them, no, not happening. Apples, oranges, and I'm not buying what you're selling. One more time. Why? Because Wong Kim Ark applied to legal residents that had a permanent domicile. It did not apply to illegal immigrants. The Supreme Court ruling only applied to those that had legal domicile here. Illegal aliens have no lawful status or jurisdictional claim under the Constitution. Let's listen to what Professor Lino Graglia of the University of Texas said. Even if Wong Kim Ark settled the status of children of legal residents, it did not do so for the children of illegal residents. Do not let anyone pull the 14th Amendment out on you. When they do, tear it up with truth and tell them what it truly means. If the Indians could be excluded from the count because they were not legal, then so can every other entity that falls under the same rubric or the same category. It's like comparing a house guest to a home invader. Yes, both are present in the house. Yeah, you got one man broke in the house. You got two people. So we're going to count all two people. Both are present, but only one was invited and only one belongs there under the house rules. Legal presence matters. Jurisdiction matters. And the left is trying to destroy that distinction. It is unconstitutional. Let's summarize before I go, because I'm about to fly to Pennsylvania and preach the coming kingdom of God this Saturday in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. If you live anywhere near there, come spend the day with me. I want to meet you. Email me and I'll give you the address. My email address, brothervaughn@gmail.com. Brother, spelled out completely, Vaughn, brothervaughn@gmail.com. I'd love to meet you there. Wong Kim Ark's parents were lawfully domiciled before there was any immigration law. They were not here unlawfully. No illegal immigration existed in 1898. So what brought the case up to begin with? Kim Wong Ark's parents flew back to China. They were not citizens, and neither was the little baby, Kim Wong Ark. When they come to fly back to the United States, they try to deny entrance to little Wong Ark because he's not a citizen. The parents said, no, he's not, and we're not, but we are here legally. And the Supreme Court said, yes, he is a citizen. He was born here to legal parents. Now let's talk about the phrase subject to the jurisdiction thereof. That still holds. Strengthens our case. It does not destroy it. It proves that legal status matters, and it always has. So the next time somebody throws up the 14th Amendment, smile and say, thanks for proving my point, and then educate them. Listen, Donald Trump, no more bandages. This is surgery. For years, we've applied political band-aids to these deep problems that's going to continue to resurface until we have a heart surgery. That surgery started on your watch. It started because of your vote for the greatest president in history, except for George Washington and Ronald Wilson Reagan. For years, we've applied executive orders. Listen to me. Executive orders is a mandate. We've applied lip service about the border crisis. Congressional hearings that go nowhere. Donald Trump just said, forget it all. Bam! He broke the rib cage. But Trump is aiming for the heart of the matter. He wants to restore meaning. Anytime I'm having a biblical debate with anyone, I refuse to have that debate until we clarify terms. Words have to have meaning. Words like citizenship, what does it mean? Let's restore the word. Representation, what does it mean? Let's restore the word. Voting, this is not about immigration. This is not about race. This is not about the DNA of America. This is about law and order. America is not dying because of illegal immigrants. She's dying because we no longer know what a citizen is. Benjamin Franklin said, you have a republic if you can keep it. And I'm telling you, the only way we can keep it is to define what a citizen is, to define who is eligible for representation in our house, the people's house. We need to change that word from the people's house to the citizen's house, because there's a lot of people here that is not their house. Right now, the republic is slipping through our fingers, my fellow American. But with this census and voter ID, Trump is not trying to win an election right now. He cannot run again. Trump is trying to save your nation. You're witnessing the first true attempt in decades, if not history, to treat the root cause of America's sickness, not the symptoms. Census reform will change how our seats are apportioned. Voter ID will change how our elections are secure. Drawing maps based on citizens instead of illegals will change who holds power. This is surgery, and surgery's never comfortable, but we may never get another chance for this surgery. Today is the time. Trump is the doctor, and you are the witnesses. So ask yourself, my fellow American, do you want a nation where illegal status grants political leverage? Do you really have that worldview that breaking the rules allows you to break the nation? It allows you to break the norms, to break the law? Do you want a republic defined by chaos or by covenant and citizenship? Then you need a heart surgery that will actually save the patient. So today I'm here to sound the alarm, to congratulate President Trump, to congratulate America. We must get behind census reform. It is now your time to share this video and then call your representative and say yes to census reform. Because we're not just witnessing politics right now. We're witnessing the republic being wheeled off to the operating room. It's happening on August the 7th, 2025. Thank you for watching. I pray you will share this because this truth needs to be spoken. Have a great day. Bye-bye.